Smoke Podcast. Your host here, the underscore Chief Mike 87 here with my co-host, Mr. Mello Miller. Look, if you're joining us from the radio station, if you've listened to us on the radio, we had a spirited conversation about Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse review. So we're still reviewing that here. And my co-host, I'm just gonna go out and say it. He's old. He's an old guy that don't like certain things being new on the screen. He's used to seeing things the exact same way. He don't like change. He don't like anything different than what he has seen before. So we've been in the conversation about the animation, the type of animated movies that have been out and what those crossovers have been for, whether that's been for adults, kids, things of that nature. My co-host believes that the Spider-Man series here, Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, is more geared towards adults versus children.
What did I say compared to what? Compared to what? Because maybe people listening to this didn't catch our first. I said compared to
like the Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets.
Like Pixar movies.
Bad guy. Yeah, Pixar, which is animation.
Illumination.
Yeah, that style, co-host, Toy Story. These things are more geared toward compared to those.
But my point was, before we got off the air, regardless of what type of animation it is, I don't think it's geared one way over the other. That's my point. Because there's been adults that have, I think, Despicable Me, that series, that was dope. It was great, but I think that was geared more toward adults. There was more adult type humor in those particular movies than it was for children. So I don't necessarily believe there's a genre.
But wait.
I think the genre is open for any. I think the genre is open for any person who likes animation, regardless if it's
that's a not irrelevant statement. Of course, anything is open to anyone who likes it. That doesn't add any value to this. What I'm saying is what the major market for it is. Understand the Despicable Me series is how many movies in?
It's is it 5, 4, 5?
Yeah, 5. And they came out back-to-back years. How long that been going on?
You said they haven't came back in back-to-back years?
Yeah, how long has that been going on?
It's been over like a 8-year stretch almost.
Yeah, and I think the last movie was, what, a year or two ago?
I think that's been going on for over a decade. You can go, guys, fact check me. Those movies have been going on for over a decade.
Okay.
People have grown with that series. When you get long, outstanding things, Miles Morales, this Spiderverse, this new concept of animation that I'm old, it's only been out. When did the first movie come out? 19?
18.
That's not been 2 movies spread across that. People didn't grow up with that. That's why it's more new to the scene than Despicable Me. Okay. Toy Story. Okay. How long? Come on, man. To compare to, I'm saying when those originally were had the same shelf life as where we're at right now. This is for more geared, in my opinion, toward children. You just see it in the animation style.
I got a question.
And I'm also gonna
even before that.
Go ahead.
Before that, one quick question. Then what is Sonic geared towards?
Sonic is geared toward the children, right? However, it has a nostalgia factor for old heads like me who grew up with a Sega and all that in that era. But they could have did live action or they could have did cartoon what we grew up on. Why did they choose that animation style? They chose that animation style for the mixed audience.
Okay, so with
the same way this Spiderverse is darker. It's not fluffy like Secret Life of Pets. It's not that fluffy feel like Looney Tunes.
Bro, none of that stuff makes it to the big screen. That's what you're not getting.
No, hardly. As I said,
that animation style behind you doesn't sell. That's why it goes straight.
Are you crazy?
It goes straight to
these things. Yes, but these things sell.
Straight to Netflix.
It doesn't. DC animation sales. It's one of the most successful animation collection. Period.
Yes, and how you talking about a span, and how long has that been going on?
That's been going on,
and that's why it's darker and it's geared toward adults.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, even animation styles apart, to even compare Miles Morales to the dark DC animation is not the same. So to say this is geared
No, it's not. It's not quite as
totally
dark
towards
as that. I
adults,
agree.
and it's only attachment is because of the MCU. First off, it doesn't make hardly any references to the MCU. It doesn't bring
It just did
anybody in
it.
from the
It just
MCU
it
at
just did it.
all.
This movie, it literally
like
just
This
Harley
movie did
Quinn.
tie, but there's only been 2 movies. So to
Okay,
say, I mean, yeah. So one of the 2 movies tied into it. One of my biggest gripes, Vern, you don't know this,
uh-oh.
is that how the MCU has disrespected Miles Morales,
That's
Yeah,
why
where
he's
they
upset.
didn't
That's
they
why he's
didn't tie in the first movie when they could have, right? In my opinion, one of the I actually like that last Spider-Man movie where all three from the
yeah,
different, they were brought together. I loved that, right? I
yeah.
didn't have no negative complaints about that, except what, co-host?
that Mouse wasn't in it.
And the reason why I say that is because you can't say you couldn't have animation in it, because in the multiverse, we've seen multiverse realms that were paint, that were cartoonish, that were this or that, and they didn't respect your new Spider-Man.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say that.
That's why I'm not
I don't want to
encouraged
say.
when
I don't want to
what
say that.
they what.
I don't want to say that they didn't respect him. What I would
Yeah,
say
they didn't
is
respect him to put him in there. Come on,
this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say.
No.
Hold up. This is what I want to
this
say
is a
about.
side
Hold
act
up.
of,
Hold
of
up.
Marvel.
Hold up.
Come on,
This is what this. No, it's
Okay.
not.
Go
This is
ahead.
what I.
they
This
treat
is
it like
what
a redheaded stepchild.
it's definitely not. This is what I say about Marvel. Marvel has a great way of being able to tie in storylines when they deem it to be tied in. If you remember in the last Spider-Man, whichever one that was, I forget what was it, Homecoming or No Way Home or whatever it
No, it
was.
was
Whatever it was. You know what I'm
Far,
talking about.
it
I
was
can't
far
remember
from
the
home.
name. Far From Home. Thank you. There was a tie. There was a. It wasn't a tie-in. It was like a cliffhanger, an Easter egg, if you will. If you
what
remember,
wasn't tied in. How was it not tied in?
listen
Wait
to
a
what I'm
minute. Hold
saying.
on.
There was an Easter egg in that movie towards the end when they were talking about the different Spider-Mans and things of that nature. If I'm not mistaken, Andrew Garfunkel, his Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, he was wondering if there was like another Spider-Man out there. I think he referenced a black Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go fact check that or whatever. But he was talking about Miles at that particular point in time. Now they didn't say it obviously because it's how Marvel does. They give out numerous of different Easter eggs in their movie, just like in these movies. There's a million to one
Miles Morales came out in
mentions in this.
19, and No Way Home came out in 21. He
Listen
could
to
have been in that movie.
listen to what
But
I'm
He
saying.
could have been respected enough to be in that
Listen,
movie.
listen to what
hold
I'm
on.
saying.
They put that boy in the back of the bus.
I got you.
Listen to what I'm saying. Marvel has a way of tying in their particular comics when deemed possible. That's why I love Marvel so much. The difference between Marvel and DC,
Don't compare Marvel and DC. It's not a fair comparison.
No, you can't.
You
It's
can't.
not a fair comparison.
There is no
Right.
comparison. But if you let me finish, what I'm saying is what I don't like about DC is they allow their fan base to rule them so much that when they do come out with a product, they do it too fast and it's not done the proper way. What I like
That's
about
not what. That's
I like,
no. You're wrong. You're factually wrong. I'm a DC guy. That's not what happened.
can I
Bro,
finish
what
what I'm
happened
saying?
to
Yes, but at least say
Can
truths. That's not what happened.
Can
What
I
happened to
finish what I'm saying?
Justice
Can I
League?
finish what I'm saying? I'm just trying to finish.
I'll let him finish, and then I'm a correct everything you're saying because that's factually wrong about DC.
That's cool. That's cool. The nice thing with Marvel, they're going to finish their story the way that they want to finish their story, regardless of who gripes about it, regardless of who asks for, well, this person's supposed to be in it or that person's supposed to be in it. You should have introduced this person first. You should have did that first. Marvel's going to do exactly what they want to do when it's time for them to do it. So, of course, every movie that we watch, regardless if it's DC or Marvel, because we're all comic heads, we want to see, oh man, I wish they would have had this person in it. Oh, I wish they would have did this with that person. But am I going to gripe about it? Am I going to fault them for what they do?
And we say the same thing about villains also.
Listen,
Exactly.
Vern, I'm a welcome you to the morning smoke, and I'm gonna show you what fact check real time looks like.
Okay. Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
I want to correct everything that this man just said. The reason that Marvel is successful is because they've had the same person at the helm the entire time.
Okay.
The reason DC was unsuccessful is because it's the same reason that the last trilogy of Star Wars played out the way it did. You had different visions each movie. And when you do it like that, you lose the glue that ties them together. DC has been in trouble because Warner Brothers has not been consistent at the top.
And
So
that,
that is one. It's not about listening to your fan base.
but
The
that's the
only
thing though. Like you're proving our point, Mello.
I'm not.
When
I'm not proving your. I'm not proving anything. He just
you're,
said accept that it's wrong.
no, it's not wrong
How did,
because the
okay,
point of
everything I said contradicted what he said. So
no,
what?
no,
How's
no,
it not
no, no,
wrong?
no, 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 you didn't contradict. What he
How did
said
I not
is
kid? He said it was fan based pressure, and I said it's not.
because
You tell me which one it
listen
is.
though, but it is when you have a board of people instead of having a CEO, somebody at the top. When you don't have
That's not a
somebody,
fan. That's
listen,
not a fan base. That's a board.
if I may finish, when you have a board of people whose influences now you got, let's say it's 10 board members. Now you got 10 people listening to hundreds of other people in there, all different respected circles of trying to
All
figure out
still
which
not the
way.
fan base.
Wait a minute, all they're trying to determine which way that this whole universe goes. When you got somebody at the top, or you got two people, when you got somebody that you could just a point man like a Stan Lee or a Jack Kirby, when you have staples inside of that universe who says, nah, this got to go this way. When they're executive producers on the movies saying like, hey, I created these characters and this is how the story goes. DC doesn't have that. They're subject to public opinion because most of the people on the DC board or even the Warner Brothers board, you look at all the other things Warner Brothers got going on. The same people that make Looney Tunes, you're gonna trust them with your
What
superhero
you're
universe?
saying? Listen, Vern. If you're going to argue in good faith and say that what right now, I'm just talking about what he said versus what I said.
But what I'm
What
saying,
you're hold on.
I'm
But
talking
you
about
said
what you're saying.
I know. But listen, I was responding to what he said. So what I said was opposite of what he said, and what you're talking about is something different than what he said.
But
And
what
what
I'm
I
saying,
asked you is that I contradicted what he said. So he couldn't have been right if what he said is the opposite of what you're saying.
but
It
what he
wasn't fan based pressure. You're saying more thing what I'm saying.
If it wasn't fan based pressure,
The
if it
only
wasn't,
fan
hold
based
up,
project that happened was Zack Snyder's
and that's what I was
movie.
just going to say.
That's one movie.
but with that,
Nothing else was fan based pressure. Nothing. That's
Okay,
why I said it was. It's not true.
but
okay.
It's a
with
lack of direction.
right. But when you're okay, so I commented on what you said about lack of
Yes, I'm
direction.
cool. Criticize what I'm saying, but don't say that I'm wrong in what I said
I'm
against him.
saying
It's not true.
Then
what
don't say that I'm wrong. Then if I can't say
what
it.
I'm saying, and the reason why I'm saying you're wrong is because I'm commenting on what you're saying, but I'm piggybacking off of what John said when he's
Then
saying
then say fan based
when
pressure. Don't say the
wait,
board. Don't say their
but
group. Don't
That's
say
but
none
all
of
the
I'm
that.
point.
saying
That's all a part of it.
No, it's not. No, it's
the
not.
board
That's
is
where they getting it
subjected to
from.
fan based
Where you think they're
pressure.
getting it from?
Okay. Tell me one project aside from Zack Snyder's that was fan based pressure. Vernon.
You said what? You said name one.
Yeah, name one DC thing that had to do with fan based pressure
Batman v
aside from
Superman.
Zack Snyder. What happened? What was fan based in that?
The whole thing rushed.
No,
Rush
why did
because
they
you was
rush
in a
it? It
rush
wasn't. No, no,
because you
no.
was in a rush to introduce
Yeah,
Ben
yeah.
Affleck as Batman.
That had nothing to do with the
You was
fan
in a
base.
rush.
That has
You
nothing
should
to do with the fan base. The writers, see, this is what happened. Marvel had a head start,
forget
and
the
DC
head
was trying.
start. Don't
No,
matter if you got
yes, it
quality.
does. If you listen, listen. I'm trying to educate you because obviously you don't know why they rushed it.
Because
Why they rushed it wasn't because of fans saying rush it. Why they rushed it was because they were trying to play catch up to where Marvel was. Marvel took time. They had individual movies. They had this arc, this arc. And DC immediately did they jump and say, let's start to the Avengers? No. They had precursors to it. They built up to the Avengers. They had levels to it. What happened with they were trying to catch up with where they were. Go back and look at the time. Burn,
no,
fact check me.
I agree, but listen,
The
but who
Avengers
applies
were
that
in full
pressure?
swing, so DC wanted their Avengers, which is the Justice League. That's
Right,
why it was rushed.
right. But who's putting the pressure out there? Who's on these blogs? Who's on the internet?
It
Who's
was the
leaving
movie.
comments?
It was no.
It's not the board
Yes, it.
members out there saying,
Okay, no. Yes,
oh,
it
well,
was because
as a group, we think
WB
we should hurry up and push this. No, they're getting
Warner
pressure.
Go. Let's
All
don't believe me.
pressure from the
Go
fans.
read it. Go. Don't believe me. Go read all of the studio's releases. The directors, the writers. They will tell you exactly what time it is when it came to that.
And they
Why it
hear
was rushed.
nobody
I
on the
listened to
internet.
all those interviews.
And they don't hear nobody on the internet.
No, they will tell you why. They
But
will tell you why it was
you think
rushed.
they're gonna admit?
They
You think they're gonna say,
directly
"Oh yeah, we rushed it for our fans"?
no, they
They're not
directly
gonna say
rushed
that.
it to get their major group out while Avengers was hot. That's what it was. Go look at the timing of the movies and the interviews that were said. That's why it was. Now
I
this
hear
is
you.
all mute. This is all mute. I'm just trying to tell you about DC because that's my world. I listen. I am entrenched in the DC
Hey,
world. I
that's
know.
good.
I listen to all that stuff. So I'm telling you why it was rushed. Fan bases only came into play with Zack Snyder's cut. That's it. I'm gonna tell you how
You
they
can't.
don't listen to the fan bases. They are literally doing a partial reboot, while the fans wanted to see Henry Cavill. They love Henry Cavill. They cut him loose. They love The Rock. The Rock is one of the most popular people on the planet, literally, and they cut him loose.
But you're talking
They
about
wanted to
stuff that
see.
happened within these last 6 months. We've
I'm
talked
which is
saying
about
which is
I'm
lineage.
giving you an example
which
of
is
of
actually
how Warner Brothers.
which has actually been they're actually starting to make that movie now. So that's
No,
been reported.
I am expressing to you that the reason that they're doing the reboot. Not it, you tell me there's a fan base that wants to see Dan Blue Beetle. Not
No,
at
no,
all.
no. I'm saying that they have actually
W.
started looking into doing a Man of Steel 2. Like that's been released.
They've been looking into that for 10 years.
Where they're actually putting work into it now.
There's nothing new in the Man of Two, the Man of Steel 2 that is relevant to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Listen,
If they were hell bent on the fan base, they would have made it 10 years ago.
listen.
No
Hear me
other
out.
no Marvel didn't wait to make Iron Man 2. They stuck they laid out their plan. They followed it because they had one man at the top and he never wavered from his vision.
Listen though. Listen though. I got a question though. I got a quick question. My thing with DC is a question. Why why has they been changing so much? Why have they changed leaders so much?
Because
Why
Warner
why didn't they
Brothers
why didn't they just
be,
run after Dark Knight?
because 100% of what you said. This is why I say you're more agreeing with me, except when you talk about where the pressure's coming from.
My
The reason that Warner Brothers is in disarray is because see, Disney bought Marvel as an entity,
they bought
right?
the studios.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They bought that as an entity to making these movies. They
Yeah.
never changed it even after the purchase. Like those people stayed right there.
Yeah.
When not I keep saying WB, when Warner Brothers
It's
keeps changing leadership, you said it. They continue to have other things going on. DC isn't even viewed in the same light that Disney views Marvel as Warner Brothers views DC on the big screen. That's why even when Batman's before or Superman movies before, you realize how much time there's not been no consistent arc. Warner Brothers doesn't
mm,
even know how to build that over 20 years like Marvel did. It's an not, but who does? Right? Marvel's doing something that you just don't see. And so I'm saying, unless they go get Kevin Feige to run it, you're not going to see the same thing as Marvel. And
you got the
they're
next best
learning.
thing.
They're learning through error because it's not a priority. You can
But
tell.
but how long do you keep giving how long do you keep messing up?
I don't know. I hate it.
Like I
I am
feel
not defending
like
Warner
and that's
Brothers. I hate the studio management. I hate them. You're talking to a real fan, and I wish that they would not have screwed this up.
and that's what makes me and just hear me out. Like kind of like what John was saying. Like
No, there's nothing he was saying. Go ahead.
yes, what he
No,
was saying. Like
I'm not even
those
listening to
board
you at this
members,
point.
it's hard for me for Warner Brothers being as big as they are to not hear anything that nobody is saying and allowing that to influence them at all. To
But
me, that's hard
you're
to
making my point. I
no,
wish that they were listening to the fans
and know what I'm
because the
saying.
fans don't want what they're doing. That's how I'm trying to tell you. The fans don't want the Warner Brothers to do this.
Listen,
Fans love the Aquaman movies. Fans love the Man of Steel movie. Fans loved the Batman, and different things like that. I'm saying the fans love the trajectory it was on, even though the Batman versus Superman was rushed. They did too much in it, and they didn't execute it properly.
All
The
right.
Justice League movie, and not women, they love Wonder Woman. They hate 84. I'm
Okay.
saying you're saying they listen to the fans. They're not. They're doing the opposite.
I'm saying them being influenced.
If
I'm
they
not
were
saying
influenced by the
listen.
fans, then they wouldn't be in disarray.
Yes, but when you have 10 people who, or I just keep saying 10, I have no idea how many people are on the Warner Brothers board. I just want to say that for the record.
It's
But
not
there
so
has
much
to
the
be.
board; they keep changing the president of these this projects. They just did it again, and the new guy came out and laid out their. It even looked like Marvel's when they had those big things that they lay out
Mhm.
phase 1, 2, 3. It looked identical to that, but this new guy is trying to copy that,
As he should.
and this new as they should have originally, right? But instead, you had three different leaders. I don't know if you're aware of this of DC with Warner Brothers, three different presidents of that project. One recently in the last year. That's where the reboot comes from. Also, keep in
But if you're
mind
gonna say that, then like, first off, everything DC's ever done has been a reboot. Their whole
everything. That's yes,
DC in its entirety is a reboot.
yes, and
Like,
and fans don't like it. They're
I
not
don't know, they
listening
keep
to
breaking
fans.
records for some reason, but yeah, yeah.
No, they were the prime guy till Marvel came on the scene, even though they weren't
All
together
right.
and this and that.
I
But
think
listen, before
we
we
did come all the way back. Come all the
I,
way
yeah,
back.
yeah. Before we go too far into the deep end, which my co-host started with, he always does this, Vern. Right now, I'm talking. He throws the conversation into
He
disarray.
did not throw
Our,
it in
I
our
disarray.
gave,
fans
I gave,
understand
You
what
I
got
they
gave,
just
twisted.
witnessed.
I gave one literally.
Incorrect statement, and it threw it off. Yeah,
No, no. I gave
I mean,
one
what are we talking
comment
about?
to reference a actual Marvel comment, and he went off on the tangent. So I don't have to
All right.
defend
So
myself. I'm
back to
just gonna let
Spider
him
Man.
keep. I'm
Keep
just gonna let
DC
him.
Back
out
to
your mouth.
the
I'm just
fact that
gonna.
okay,
I'm
well,
just gonna let. I'm just
nobody
gonna
wants to
let
talk
him.
Not
about
you,
that.
Vern.
Yeah.
Vern,
I
you're
don't want
good.
no,
You're
I'm
good,
not
Vern.
talking about it either.
I'm just gonna
It's
let
him.
him. I'm just gonna let him keep defending himself on why he did
It's
what he
him.
did. The people know. I ain't got what's understood don't need to be explained. So
All
so
right, so back to
anyways,
Spider Man.
back to Spider-Man, what we're really
Yes.
here for.
So
Uh
so you agree with these 5, 6, and 7s? For
No,
your
I,
for
I
your old
I
man.
am a 7. I don't agree with the 5 and 6s, but I agree with they rated it too low. But I agree. First off, everything that people are saying valid. The people that love it and the people that hate it. Different things inspire different people. And for me, what I like for animation, what I like to see how a story unfold.
It's old
The
shit.
Miles Morales didn't do it for
correct.
me, and also
Absolutely.
the backstory.
Dirty dingy ass animation. Got it.
What the backstory was with Miles Morales, the first one, and how he wasn't included in that Spider-Man arc where they brought them all together. That bothered me, and so I went
He's
in.
not a
I
part of the
went in.
MCU, so I want to correct you on that.
He's a Spider-Man, and he's in that same world.
No, he's not.
It's just a different. He's not a part. He's not in MCU.
No.
So he's not a part of. Okay, so just to make this clear,
No.
somehow they tied into at the end of this movie to the main MCU, but you're saying he's not a part of the MCU.
No. And let me tell you why. With Into the Spider-Verse,
I
they
agree with you.
represented every universe. Every universe. Every single one.
You
And
talking
they
about
were
this new one?
and
Yes,
they
the
were
new one.
Yeah.
Bro.
actually more specific.
Exactly.
This is why
And
I
wait a
agree with
minute.
Vernon.
At the end of the Spider-Man Far Away from Home, if you remember, go back and watch it. When Doctor Strange was trying to
Mhm.
put a universe back together, you actually see
Mhm.
Miles Morales. He's in one of
Mhm.
those glass flickery universe things. So
Mhm.
technically he was in it,
But
but
this
he
but
Wait,
wasn't
this
in
wait,
it.
wait, wait. Is he in it or is he not in it? Is he a
I'm
part of
just
the
saying,
MCU or
no,
is he not,
hold on,
Vern? Because you just told me two different things.
if I can
See,
finish.
on this show, we like facts.
I know. Just let me
One of
finish.
us do.
Okay. I will let y'all debate who
what
that is.
no,
But what
it's
I'm
just more
saying is,
digs. I'm not
I'm
listening to
not
him.
saying he's a part of the universe, but when you saying he was blackballed, he was left out, he was treated like a
He
stepchild.
was.
They're not. If there was an animation universe, then okay, cool. But like this Spider-Man Into the
It's one
Spider-Verse
of the. It's one of the universes.
it's its own. Does that make sense?
No. Okay. You're a comic guy, Vern. So I
I
want to
am.
be very clear. How many different Earths are there?
Hundreds.
And they have their own story arcs and own different.
Actually,
Many of them,
Yeah, I'm about to say
when
thousands, but
infinite, it doesn't matter. But in the comics, there's plenty, right?
yeah,
What happens is you get different. I'm just gonna go in the universe and then the background of it. You get different artists. You get different people on the project. They all look different. There's different powers. There's different this. There's different that. All these universes. That's how they get away with it, right? The MCU has done the same thing with the three Spider-Man, the main Spider-Mans that most people know, and they did the same thing with Miles Morales and all those various Spider-Mans in these movies. But
right,
they're all connected in their different universes through
yeah,
the multiverse.
right.
They're all connected through the
through
multiverse. It's
through
just
the
different universes.
through the Spiderverse. Not we. That's what
No,
we need to.
The Spider-Verse
We need to.
represents different. Listen,
I
the
hear
the
what
one,
I hear what you're
But
saying, and I
they
understand
made
what
it
you're trying to.
specific
and
point
that's true.
to go over the Spider-Verse, not necessarily the
Yeah,
multiverse. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. So
The
the point that
Spider-Verse,
you're saying,
they come from different Earths
yes, but when
that
that
are relevant in their own Earths. That's what I'm
So
trying to say. Their
so
own
so
multiverses.
yes,
so let me put it like this: then, if you're
but to put
go
that
ahead,
Miles
go ahead.
Morales into Far From Home, it didn't
You
give
didn't
any.
have to put them in there the same screen time, but you're saying you've seen them in
It
this
did,
one
but
little
what I'm saying is
second
it doesn't
screen.
hold.
Give them 5 minutes.
It doesn't hold any point. People
It
might
was
be like,
made
"What's
two
the
years
point?"
before, and he's the next chapter.
But it's not. I can see if if Into the Spider Verse had any reference
Or
to
connection to these other
Spider-Man
ones? Yes.
Homecoming or something like that, like if it had any inclination to Doctor Strange, like if they had referenced that in any way or pulled somebody in or showed a glimpse of somebody or even a cut scene at the end that it gave off that type of vibe, I'd have been like, oh, okay. They
Yeah,
should have told
but
me it's
but they
Miles Morales.
didn't do it in Miles Morales, just like they didn't give that glimpse in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's. They didn't give that glimpse in Andrew
But
Garfield's.
that's
They didn't
pre
get
MCU.
no. But no, it's not pre MCU. The story. Listen, those versions are now part of canon.
Yes, but look what they had to do
So
to get back
Hold
to
up,
no.
it.
hold up,
But
hold up.
listen, what I'm saying is when you bring them in, you don't have to have the multiverse as a part of the original story. They did it in that movie.
Let me
And you
ask
could
this.
have Miles Morales didn't need to mention the
Let me
multiverse. You could
let
have did
me
the same thing.
let
But
me
he
ask
dead
this.
smack in the middle. So to
Let me
bring him in and not reference it is kind of weird at this point. Because look what they did with Venom. The first one Venom came in, he was in the outside the universe. Oh, this is an independent movie. It's a spinoff. Blah 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 blah
same
blah.
same way
Next
with
movie,
same way with the Amazing
Spider.
Spider-Man. That
The
wasn't
next
in
Yes.
MCU right away.
the next one, what they
Exactly.
do? Put him
Y'all are
in.
saying my point.
So here's my point. So here's my question. If you're this upset that Miles wasn't in it, I never heard you say any of this when it was coming about the Amazing Spider-Man. I never heard you talk about this. Why were you
What are
not
you
this
talking
upset?
about?
The Amazing Spider-Man was not MCU at first. It was an independently owned
So
Spider-Man.
what? So
You're
what?
you're saying that your gripe
You
was
you know what
hold
I'm
up,
upset
hold up,
about?
hold up. Let me finish. You're saying that you're upset because you feel like Miles Morales got the short end of the stick and he wasn't introduced in
In
this
that
particular
movie.
movie. Why was you saying this on the other Spider-Man as well? Because he could have
What what
also been
what other
introduced.
Spider-Man wasn't left out? What other Spider-Man was left in that movie? I don't know what you're talking about.
So the Amazing Spider-Man, the one with Andrew Garfunkel, in that
Andrew Garfield was in the movie.
he came later. You're missing my point. When he wasn't there, because he just came. Like
So
he
before
hasn't
you
been
knew
it.
he
He
was going to
hasn't
be
been
in
it.
the movie,
Exactly. He hasn't been in
that's
this
what he
movie
said.
until Far From Home. He
You're
wasn't in
making my
there,
point.
but you wasn't upset about him. You're
Why
upset
would I
about
be?
Miles.
So
What do you think I'm upset about right now?
so when they introduced the new
You've only said
Spider-Man,
Miles,
what
so
we're
that's the
saying,
only thing that I know
what
that
we're
you're upset
saying is
about.
why didn't they? What John is saying is when they introduced Tom Holland as the new Spider-Man, they introduced him in Civil War. When he came in, whenever you
Yeah,
heard about him, then
multiverse
he
wasn't
got
there yet in the whole arc yet.
you
I'm not
can't
even
say that.
talking about that.
Multiverse has always been there from what you said,
No, no,
and
it not. They didn't introduce the multiverse until Loki.
but the multiverse has been here. First off, the
Yes, it's been
multiverse
there,
has
but
been
They didn't cross over yet.
okay. So
Yes,
so with that being said, we can say the same thing about Venom because it was a crossover. Could have been in there. They could have made a cameo with Tom Holland. They didn't. They've been keeping the Morbius, same thing. They've been keeping a lot of things separate until Sony,
Yes.
until
Yes.
until Disney and Sony had an agreement. They couldn't even do
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Correct.
So the
Not with a
problem
full
really
feature. Yeah.
is really something outside of the actual movies. Since we're
No.
talking
No.
about
No.
studios, Sony owned the rights to Spider-Man Infinite. They owned
I'm not.
Fox owned the right to Fantastic Four and X-Men Infinite. That's why they've never crossed over into the
I'm not
universe.
sure y'all even understand what I'm frustrated with.
No, I'm
I
just
have
saying.
no
I'm
clue
just saying
what y'all
we're
are arguing about right now.
because John is saying that any time they could have pulled in a Spider-Man, they could have put in any Spider-Man, they could have
But
pulled
that
in
wasn't the
whatever
story
they
arc at
wanted.
the time.
Just
I
like this
am
wasn't the
complaining.
story.
Listen.
Just
Why
like
No,
didn't they
listen.
do
just like
Listen. Hold on, Fitz.
Okay, maybe Miles ain't in the story arc right now.
No, but listen to me.
Maybe
Andrew
I'm reading.
Garfield nor Tobey Maguire was not in the story. They weren't even MCU yet. But they had their own movies.
When did Iron Man come out?
Hold on. In No Way Home, that's when Doctor Strange broke the thing and
Yes.
they all came
Far from
together,
home.
right?
Far from home.
No, it was No Way Home. I'm looking at it on my screen. No
Well,
Way Home.
okay, yeah, okay, at the end, yeah, okay, cool.
I'm saying that's when he broke it, right? And
Yeah.
so what I'm saying to you is that in that movie
Mm-hmm.
was the first time you've seen Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland come together. That's when all the the enemies, this and that, they all merged in that movie. So y'all are talking about why wasn't I upset when before that point? Why would I be upset? In that story, they should have, since 2 years before, introduced the first Spider-Man on the big screen of color. Marvel should have included him just like they had silly renditions of multiversal things when you seen Doctor Strange and old girl float, going through different realities. They should have at least found a way to show him respect since you're going to build on him. They didn't, and maybe that's not how they wanted it to go. But as a fan, I would have liked to seen them show some respect for the first Spider-Man of color in that big moment to actually get some love. It didn't have to have the same screen time. He didn't have to be a major part. But what Fitz has said is that there was a small Easter egg of him. Fans don't catch every Easter egg, but they didn't miss if you gave it 30 seconds worth. They wouldn't have missed it if you gave it a minute. That's all my gripe is. What y'all talking about, I have no clue what
cool.
y'all arguing against.
All right, so you're saying they should have through this random ugly art animation.
It's not
style,
random.
No, if I may finish, this ugly random animation style that you don't like, they should have just threw it in there just to show some little love. When this man
to the first Spider-Man of color on the big screen, yeah, I would have loved to see that. Give him 30 seconds, yeah, instead of a hidden Easter egg that no one's paid attention to. Yeah, that's all my gripe is.
Cool. All right.
Now I have no clue what we're talking about and any of these other things except if focus on that gripe. Now that's all I'm saying. Instead, we got to see Doctor Strange be Paint.
That's unnecessary gripe.
We got to see him be Paint. But I couldn't see the Black Spider-Man.
You just want to be mad.
And I'm glad Marvel didn't just throw him in there just for some random reason because he was on his way, being the next Spider-Man or whatever it was. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that they didn't just add him in there just for some strange reason. Because
when he broke down the walls of the multiverse, Doctor Strange's spell, you wouldn't have liked to see that.
And if that was the case, we should have saw Spider-Punk. We should have saw Spider-Dinosaur.
You could have seen many different versions. I would have been okay with it.
We could have saw Spider-Pig. We could have saw
a lot of them.
Spider-Man. We could
a lot of them.
I mean, we could have just threw them all in there because that would
except those guys aren't getting the torch passed to them, are they?
How is he getting the torch
in their
passed
own
to
universes?
How is Miles?
When they get their individual movies, let me know.
How is Miles getting the torch passed to him when there's still other prominent Spider-Man in the Marvel lineup right now?
Cool. So who's getting? This is the second movie in the Miles Morales saga, right? It's a trilogy, right? A live action movie's being made for him, right?
Because he's not the
wait a minute though.
There's still other ones. Wait a minute though.
Hold on. And I guarantee you that in that live action, I bet you it don't play off of this. I bet you it's totally different.
And there's also another Spider-Man being in production too from the other normal Spider-Man. It's not Miles.
From Tom Holland. Yeah,
yes.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I'm saying the torch is being passed to Miles Morales to get on the big screen.
There is no
torch.
That's obvious. They're pouring millions of dollars into it. They're not doing that for the big Spider-Man.
That's not a torch being passed.
All because of this.
What are you talking?
Okay, that's not a torch being passed.
I'm in shock right now. What do you call it? That's not a torch. What do you call it?
They're just having parallel Spider-Man play.
Yeah. What do you call it then?
But that's not no torch being passed.
I know of two Miles Morales projects in production right now, but I only know of one Tom Holland.
When I think of torch being passed, I think of a Spider-Man is done. Like there's one that's not going to be on movies anymore.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Maybe we got different.
Maybe we do have different definitions. Yeah.
You're admitting that one will be no more when you're passing a torch.
That's how y'all doing it, bro.
Retirements and things of that nature.
Okay. I'll put it like this: LeBron passed the torch to whoever was the best player in the league at whatever given moment that. I don't know what he said. LeBron has passed the torch for somebody else to be the best player in the world, and yet he's still playing. He don't have to be finished to pass the torch.
We have two different.
Do you understand how I'm now using it, co-host?
I mean, from your meeting, if that's what you want to say, then yes.
No. I'm asking a specific question. LeBron has passed the torch. He's no longer the greatest player in the world, but he was.
I'm going to go off of your. That is your definition.
Who is he passing the torch
to? Your definition, yes, but that's not my definition.
Vernon, it doesn't have to be your definition. I said, do you understand what I'm saying when I say pass the torch?
I say it from.
So Vernon, you are cut out. But Vernon, I said at some point, whether you love or you hate LeBron was the greatest player on the planet for some amount of time. Now, whoever then became the greatest player on the planet after him, you can argue, debate. Was it KD at one point? That's what my co-host thought. Was it Giannis at one point? Is it Joker now? People have different conversations. But whenever that next player comes in, LeBron don't have to stop playing basketball to no longer be the greatest player in the world. He passed that torch of that title while he's still active. And that's what I'm trying to say when I say pass the torch. Now, you tell me, Vernon, what am I saying incorrect?
You are saying everything you just said was incorrect.
Okay, cool. What am I saying?
When passing first off, when you know you have the torch, you pass it willingly. It's like a baton.
No, we're talking. It's not. No, you're going too deep into what that direct thing is. Yeah, because I'm not saying it like that at all. So, people can pass torch and have nothing to do with the next person.
Okay, then. So people who say that, let's say Joker is the best on the planet, and right now they're saying that.
Let's say Giannis was the best one before that.
Let's say who says LeBron still ain't the best on the planet?
I'm not trying to argue for the specific. I'm giving you an example of what I mean. Most people don't have LeBron number one right now.
They crazy.
And I'm the biggest LeBron fan there is, and I'm saying most people don't have him number one.
They should.
That's a different conversation that we may agree on. I'm talking about most people have other people. We talking about the analysts. He's in the top 5. And he's year 21 coming up, but let's not get twisted. Like the analogy is, at some point, Jordan was the greatest player on the planet. He didn't pass the torch to
he retired.
Whoever was the great. Yes, it doesn't matter. But when he came back, he still wasn't the greatest player in the league
because he had quit already.
Who he quit in 94.
He quit in 90. Yeah, and then he wasn't. He had to.
And
come
when
back
he came back,
he had to come back and reclaim it because he didn't win the championship when he came back. So people weren't saying he was the best. That next year, then he came. Then he reclaimed it. But that's
the argument that I'm making. You don't have to directly handpick and hand somebody the title. Jordan left. Somebody else got the title, regardless if Jordan wanted him to be it or not.
Okay, so when we're talking Spider-Mans, are you saying that? Ooh, man.
I'm saying that Tom Holland's contract is going to be running out, and they're switching. They're going to somehow put a cap on that the same way Iron Man is no longer there in the same realm that he was before. I'm saying that these people move on from these genres. Not everybody's Wolverine who does it for 30 years.
Yes, but what I'm saying is also like that's
And
not
Miles Morales is the next chapter.
but that's not passing the torch. It's out of your control. Like
I just
we're talking about
explained that
real-life
how I'm
contracts.
using it. Jordan didn't pass the torch to somebody in '94. It automatically just went to somebody else.
But that's
LeBron
not
ain't passed it to somebody, handpicked him, and said, "Here, you the greatest player in the world." Somebody passed him. That's what happens. The studios, however, are writing in stories and the timing of the releases and saying, "Hey, Tom Holland ain't gonna be here forever, but we love the character Spider-Man. Tom Holland's not animation. We just cracked into a whole different genre with this. We're going to bring him over to live action. We're going to do a lot of different things." And I'm saying if you're investing that much into a new Spider-Man, that's going to can go animation can play way longer than Tom Holland can be Spider-Man. And I'm saying to you, that is what they are envisioning to keep that going.
But what I'm saying is they're not going to bring an animation Spider-Man over into live action. And
They
then
already are making the movie.
just hear me out, hear me out. And then when he no longer wants to play Spider-Man, moving back to animation because you can take Tom
Yeah,
Holland Spider-Man and move it to animation. Like, what do
you
we?
could,
Why does
but they
it even
haven't.
matter then?
You
Why does
could,
the
but they
animation
haven't,
even matter?
and they don't plan on doing that, right? There's no production that's in the works saying that they're doing that. However, co-host, back me up when I'm right. They are going from animation to live action with Miles Morales, correct?
They are, yes.
So they're going to go back and forth with this Miles Morales character, something they're
So
not
it's going
doing
to
with
be the
Tom
same,
Holland.
but it's going to be the same Spider-Man. It's going to be one Miles
The,
Morales.
the character is this. I don't know which person. I mean, as we've seen, there's different versions, different
No.
multiverses of Miles.
Yes, but we're talking about
At
this.
the end of the movie that we're supposed to be reviewing, there were two Miles Morales. He was ended up in the wrong one.
Okay, so hear me out. So what I'm saying is this. So you're saying they're going to take this Miles Morales and move him to live action in the MCU. That's what you're saying.
No, they're taking Miles Morales. Who knows
The
if it's
character.
this
The
one
character
or
overall. So
the
minus
character
the
overall, and they're making a
movie.
live action Miles Morales movie. That
Okay,
could be Earth 313 for all I know.
okay,
I have
all right.
no clue,
Yeah,
but they're
I
tying it
thought
into the
what I
MCU.
thought is what you was trying to tie them together and saying, hey, look, they're gonna
No,
take
no, 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 no.
animation Spider Miles Morales and move him to live action. I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
In fact, it would have been genius, in my opinion. Let's say you don't even add the animation to the No Way Home. Let's just say you have a person that is in there that we ain't never seen since. Now, Coles, you tell me this. Marvel's genius, right? They project 10 years out. You knew
They
you was
do.
going to do this Miles. Let's say you knew that you were going to do it at that time. Just 2 years ago, the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
You probably already have your actor selected.
Maybe.
Let's just hypothetically say, right? Give him a cameo in that. You don't know who he is. Let him introduce himself or something. Maybe
But
something
also,
other people
but
crossed over.
also with the multiverse,
I'm
how many
saying show
times?
some love.
No,
That's
but how
all.
many times have Marvel went back and showed a scene, and you was like, oh, or they'll put somebody in somewhere and they was like, showed them like, oh, that person was standing right there, or that person was right there, or that person was on this side of town when they was over. Like, so it can still happen. Like everything you're saying with the multiverse, anything can happen. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
you can
And
easily
if they
throw pixie dust
if
on the
they
multiverse
correct
and make
it,
something
if
happen.
they correct it down the line, then you will have seen my gripe been limited and shrunken to the simple fact that I'd like to see them be more than an Easter egg.
But and all I'm
That's
saying is I
all.
think your
That's all.
gripe is misplaced because it like right now I don't think it matters enough right now,
Oh, I ain't saying it's that deep. I ain't
and it
saying it's
doesn't
that deep.
and it doesn't
This
affect
this
this
actually
movie
got
one way.
off into something else.
Right.
Now, co-host, you tell me when I'm wrong. It could be something that I don't truly care a lot about, but sometimes it'll just be a bigger conversation. But when you bring it back into perspective, I'm like, to be honest with you, I
Meh.
only cared about that 2%.
Meh.
I'm giving you just one little thing that bothered me about it, but that ain't making it a 70. What made it a 70 for me was
Yes,
simply
that's what I want to hear.
what made it. It just wasn't my favorite style. Now, I'd be honest with you. I have a brother who loves anime. My daughters love anime, right?
Hmm.
I like certain anime and I don't like others. I mean, I'm a little older, so I don't know if you know what Sailor Moon is,
As
Oh
I
but
yeah, I
start,
know Sailor Moon is.
as I started with this whole conversation, he's old. That was
no,
the
no, no, no.
main
It's not about that.
conversation.
It's simply Fitz, you like sci-fi, but you don't like everything about sci-fi. You don't like every project that ever came out, every story. So for me, I don't like Sailor Moon type animation. I don't like that Japanese approach. I love Star Wars. I'm a fanatic. That Star Wars, what was it? Like the Star Wars What If with those Japanese
You're talking about
samurais, whatever it was. I forget.
yeah, so it's on
I,
Disney Plus. Star
It was
Wars,
Star Wars.
something
I
other.
hated it.
I forget.
I hated
what
it.
Was. Yeah.
Fitz, I didn't finish it.
Boo.
And that's the only thing ever
It was-
made about Star Wars I've never
Star
finished.
Wars.
Star
I just didn't
Wars.
like that style of animation. But you know what I'm talking about. The point is they had Asian,
It was like
Japanese
Evolution
style.
or Revolution or something. I can't remember. I know what you're talking about though. I know what you're talking about.
They were samurais with lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, but they made it animation, right? And I didn't like it. But
if you was watching
that,
Star Trek, you'd be better. Stop watching Star Wars, man. You wouldn't have these issues.
He's a Trekkie
I
anyway.
love. Vern. You see what's going on over there, don't you?
I couldn't see that. It was off camera.
He actually.
Oh, my fault. Look, I got a lot of.
Okay.
He actually
You
prefers.
just talk a lot of Star Wars, so I was confused.
He prefers that
Only because it was Marvel. I was just saying it was Marvel. I mean, not Marvel, Disney. So that's why I kept talking.
Okay, yeah, nah, I'm about to say, man.
Same studio. But no, I don't want to get too far with that, Vernon. For me, it was just my favorite style. I did love the ending because I like that he couldn't even tell that he was in a different universe at first, and then So that right there was genius. I loved it. But guess what? Wasn't going on all right there, all that craziness. So I'm not trying to be funny with it. It's just different style that I don't or do not like. Too much fast pace.
Did you like Sin City?
Who, me?
No, I'm talking about Mike.
That's an unfair comparison because no. Listen to me. I like Sin City to an extent, but the reason why it wasn't my favorite, but the reason why I liked it is because that was pure adult.
But since
that was pure,
even the style,
I'm talking about this.
all that.
I'm talking about just the style.
Well, the black and white with some blood, the red and different colors. It was cool. I mean, it wasn't my favorite. I said that.
No. What I'm saying is that style. So that was a highly like comic type.
It was
style.
It was.
And that's what that's what these.
But you admit that it was mainly black and white.
Well, yeah, it wasn't any colors in it like that. No.
But still,
just red. That's it.
And the Spider-Man movie, the Miles Morales newest movie, is full of color on the screen. So I'm saying you even add a different dimension of stimulation versus Sin City didn't have. But the styles, I mean, that's
what I'm talking about. The style itself. I ain't talking about the other stuff. I get it.
But you add in the extra layer of stimulation, and you're like, oh man, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Sin City was okay. Sin City was okay.
But like people stimulation overload. Like, what did you come for? You knew what it was gonna be.
I did.
What it was gonna be.
I did. So it's not like I can't ignore it. I can't ignore it or not acknowledge. It's like me going to a Pacer game this year. I'm like, okay, well, I know what that team is, but I still want to. Just because I knew that they were deficient in this, don't mean that I'm not going to comment on it, right?
But that's like you going to the Pacer game and you're saying you don't like the jerseys, but you knew what the jerseys were. You knew what they looked like.
Well, I have done stuff. I have done stuff like that. Like I would literally, I like the Lakers, right? Because LeBron.
Cool.
And there are certain jerseys that I know they were going to wear that game.
Right.
I hate the color purple, so it's kind of funny. But not all their jerseys are heavy purple. But you get some versions of their jerseys is way more purple. Co-host, I knew ahead of time because I'm very heavy Laker. I'm all in the blogs and this and that. I know ahead of time, but I'm like, yeah, I watched it and I did not like that. Even though I knew I wasn't going to like it.
It's almost like this is also a thing that I gripe about when it comes to black people. And I'm pretty sure that this person that wrote that overstimulating comment was probably black. You know how you get the right black person that'll go to a restaurant and they'll eat a piece of chicken. They say this chicken is terrible. I hate it, and they still eat the chicken. They still tear it up. Leave no.
I'm gonna waste. I'm gonna eat that chicken. No.
You knew what the chicken tastes like. You knew what it looked like.
What chicken tastes like,
and you continue to eat the chicken, and then you're gonna give it a bad review because the chicken wasn't good. Yet you clean the chicken to the gristle.
First off, you don't understand. I'm gonna give you some background on that, and then we can move on. Co-host, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
You cleaned your plate no matter if you wanted it or not.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not when you paying money. You didn't pay for the
Yeah,
plate.
but here's the thing, though.
No, no,
You were
no. I'm
for,
saying when that
when
plate was put in
no, hold
front
up.
of you, you had to
Yeah,
clean that plate or
that's
you
what.
got a butt whooping.
No, hold up. The difference
So I
between that.
cleaned my chicken
Hold
to the
up.
bone.
Hold up. The difference
Oh,
between that, you were forced to eat that chicken. You wasn't forced to go see Spider-Man because I told
I
you not to
am.
go see it. I
You
literally
ever
told you not to
see?
go see it.
You ever see a person that come out of prison, been in there 20 years? They institutionalized. They still come out. They worried about this and that.
oh, okay.
I'm saying my childhood molded me to way I eat my food. Right
So he
now, my
must.
wife knows whatever she put in front of me, I'm gonna eat, and she feeds me all day.
So he must be institutionalized to that old
That's what
style
I'm saying.
DC
My
animation. That's what it
childhood,
is. That's what
yeah,
it is. We got you.
yeah,
Okay.
We got
yeah.
you. You institutionalized.
You
I'm
know
just
Okay.
what?
giving you
The
that. Yeah,
problem.
That's cool.
The problem is DC. That's the problem. The
DC
problem has
bothers me a lot, and I love DC. I just wish
They
it would
they
be.
DC
they
is the
they
problem.
need to do
Okay, you're
more.
not the problem. DC is the problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
we
DC need to
forgive
do
you.
more. They need to start doing more so they can give
They can't.
our viewers different avenues when it comes to these movies and animations. Because
Until
then that's all.
until somebody buy the movie rights from Warner Brothers
I
and
need Disney to do it.
no,
Nah,
hell
nah,
no, we don't want
nah.
that.
Yeah,
Please,
we don't want
please
them.
buy it,
We
Disney.
don't want that.
Please.
We don't want that
Y'all
filler.
I
need some, no,
want.
no, 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 no. What y'all need? Y'all need some. Y'all need Fox. That's who
If
y'all
I
need to buy. And
I
just
think
hear me
Fox
out.
would
Why?
do it.
Just because Fox isn't scared to do X-rated. Y'all need XR rated movies.
Mm.
First off, it separates y'all from the MCU, so now y'all don't look like copycats. And traditionally in y'all comics and
It's
in y'all
darker anyway.
animation is
Yeah,
darker anyway. So hey, look, let
and in
MCU
the
have the
video
light.
games, it's darker.
It's darker. So let MCU have the light. We'll take the dark.
I'm fully good with that, except they went too dark with this latest Batman.
No, but see, to me that shit wasn't even dark. Like
It was
DC,
dark. His
no,
eyes
no,
was
no,
dark. His
no,
lipstick was dark.
no. We ain't talking
It
about
rained.
color dark.
It
I'm
rained
talking
pretty much the
about
whole
where
movie.
I'm talking.
Bird, I'm just talking crazy about that Batman. I hate that version of Batman. I don't
Y'all,
like that
what y'all
version.
should have did, they should have built off the Dark Knight. Dark Knight trilogy, that should have
Yes,
led
that's
y'all into y'all universe,
tremendous,
and everything should have
Best
been
Batman trilogy made.
dark, dark, dark
tremendous
after that.
series. Please,
Like,
that should have been a
hey,
part of
it
the
should have been
DCU.
Superman going against
Yes,
Darkseid. Like, it should have been so much. The Flash going against the Reverse Flash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's against Zoom. Like, we talking about real killers. You put the
you
Joker.
know what,
The
Bird?
Joker's a real killer. Like, you
I
need
got a
that's
problem that
the
I'm
way
a
they should
gripe
have.
to because I got somebody else on. I gripe to my co-host all the time, so it's somebody new to gripe to.
You gripe to your
Um,
who?
I gripe to my co-host all the
Oh,
time, right?
I thought you said your
But
co-host.
I'm saying no. Somebody else to gripe to.
Okay.
Marvel gets the benefit of their series being on Disney Plus. They put all that money and quality into it. Look great. We get our TV
HBO
series.
on HBO Max. It's trash.
No. I'm talking about when they on TV,
Oh, that too. Yeah,
like the Superman on there or the
yeah,
Flash or whatever it is. Those are very low budget
trash.
series,
Wait a minute
and
though.
I hate it.
No. I
They
gotta
not
fight
low
you.
budget.
No. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Oh, okay.
What I'm
I want
saying
some
is,
money poured into it.
even even if y'all would have started with the Arrow and built off of that, the
And the
Arrow
Arrow,
series was great. I loved
the
it.
Arrow series was good for what it was, but you chose.
But I'm just saying,
Listen,
if you want to stay in that Marvel realm, that Disney realm, you could have just built off of that. If they'd have took
co-host,
if they'd have took Arrow and like I just think you gotta start somewhere. And they
co-host.
just don't know where to start. And when they have something good, they let it fade into the darkness.
What you think that the average person knows about Arrow?
I'm just
Not
saying, I'm just
not many.
not many,
I'm
but I'm just
saying you
saying in
got to
general.
build on something. You were right when you said build on Dark Knight because that was major. You right when you say build on Superman. These things are already out there. They're the two most popular, right? You right on that. But when they even, it's why I have a problem with the Blue Beetle being made. I'm not going to see it. It's not. I know about Blue Beetle, but why are we making that? That's not for the average person. And if you're going to be on the big screen, you got to draw in the randoms.
But
Come on, man.
he's mixed
What
he's mixed
Marvel
race.
movie? I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, what is the worst Marvel movie made out of the in the MCU? I know what it is.
You said
The very first Hulk.
No, that wasn't even. I mean,
no.
they added that, but that wasn't made during this era, right?
And
You talking about during the MCU?
I'm talking during the MCU run. The worst.
I can't think of one.
It was Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius. Yeah.
It had the worst reviews. Don't get mad at me.
Reviews. I don't care about what other people.
It had the worst sales.
I'm talking to you.
For me,
hold on.
And I'm
about to co-host. We did a review on it.
It's bad.
It had the worst sales of any Marvel movie ever made. It had the worst reviews of any Marvel movie ever made. It literally, but why though? It's because don't nobody know about no Morbius and the average people. You didn't build that up. You didn't. And that's why that other Marvel thing kind of flopped. The what was it, the Eternals?
Yeah.
That wasn't as successful because you're playing on areas that people don't know. I don't want nothing to do with Arrow being built upon. He needs to be just.
What I'm saying.
That's why.
What I'm saying is,
Hulk, I didn't get no side movie
before Arrow. You already had Dark Knight trilogy, so if you
build on that.
That's what I'm saying. But if you'd have had that and you brought Arrow into that,
now Arrow don't need his own series, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying
Arrow needed to just be brought in as a side.
That's what he's saying.
I'm saying bring Arrow into that Dark Knight trilogy. What I'm saying when you start,
you could have brought him in there.
Pairing with Batman. That's what he's saying.
If you paired him with that versus a standalone,
exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Vein. You know what I mean? Like start pulling people in because that's how it starts, or even introduce them in a cutscene. You know, at the end
that would have been beautiful. That's where you bring Blue Beetle in. Now I got to see this standalone movie. Cause you know DC's in disarray. You loving every minute of it. You're laughing. I don't appreciate. See, I'm about to.
I didn't even say nothing.
My co-host likes me upset about the DC.
I didn't even say anything
Look,
about
man, you made your choice.
You did.
You just made the wrong one. It's okay.
Did.
I grew up.
You did.
No, I love both. Look, Vern, right here. I got Thor. I got Superman. I got the Gauntlet. I got all kind of different. Look, I love both.
But you still made your choice. You made your choice. Look, Superman and Wonder Woman is above Thor right now. So what does that say? What does that say?
Superman above everybody.
Okay, so you made your choice.
Yeah, man.
You made your choice.
Well, Superman held the record for sales in Superman genre for the longest time. He had the biggest run until this movie.
Well, yeah, you need to leave
Superman in superhero sales. I said Superman held the record in movie sales for a long time. It was like 30 years he held the record for box office.
For bad movie.
And then no. That was come on now. Box office sales. I didn't say reviews. Sales.
That was
bad movies.
That was the only like hero type movies that was going on.
Nobody else. There was no
and Batman was right there too. DC owned it originally.
Yeah.
They had that on lock, and then freaking Kevin Feige and his vision.
Look, man,
forget that. Once Blade hit the scene, they took the record. Actually,
no, it didn't surpass it. Those two. I seen the. I literally was watching it. Like I watched these this site on YouTube that does all these rankings, and it like fast forwards, and you see them change and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
and Blade never surpassed. What surpassed Batman and Superman as 1 and 2? It was Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man killed all that shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man broke it with the Tobey Maguire. Like he surpassed them, and then they just built on that. I'm talking about Marvel characters. You know what I mean? Like, even though that was Sony,
you just need to go ahead and leave Superman alone. He can't stay relevant. He can't stay relevant. He's the only superhero I know actor-wise that was paralyzed. I ain't never heard of a Batman being paralyzed.
That fake Superman? That fake Superman?
I ain't never heard of a Batman being paralyzed. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm talking to my comic guy. Look, co-host. I don't want. Listen.
I'm just saying. I ain't never heard of it.
Hey,
Vernon, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
What did you just say?
Has Spider-Man been paralyzed? Has Batman been paralyzed?
What did you just say?
My fault.
Listen to me, Vernon. Listen, I got a question for my comic guy. I got a question now, because there's a lot of disrespect, a lot of slander going on. I got a question for you, Vernon.
Yes, sir.
When they had the DC, this was the biggest event in comic history when DC and Marvel paired up in the comics and they crossed over.
Ah, yeah.
Who was on top at the end of that?
Bruh. First
No,
off,
no, no,
I
no, no, no,
told
no.
you
I
he's
just wanted to.
OP, bro.
Superman had Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield, and he's standing right there.
Bro,
My
but he
boy
OP,
was on
bro.
top.
Yeah,
He OP, bro.
he
And
had it.
nobody has
Yeah,
access.
he had his
Nobody
time.
has
He had his
access
time.
to the Krypton. So like,
Let me ask you another. Let me ask you another question.
of
Since
course he's gonna
that
win.
Exhibit A is done, I go to Exhibit B. When they had that infamous, they put together the screw attack battle on YouTube. They did two different ones, but both of them Superman played fought the Hulk because it was a big, whatever. They did the same thing with Goku, different universes. Superman won both of those. My boy gonna be on top. Don't
Listen,
come for him. No legs and all. Don't come for him.
because the only thing, first off, he's the only superhero where everybody knows his weakness.
Every single.
Everybody knows his weakness. It's about access.
Really? Yeah.
That's what it's about. If you don't have access to it, then of course he's gonna win every time. But
And I ain't even mentioning the real OP version of Superman with Superman Prime when he go gold on you. When he slept in the sun for all those years, my boy was gold. Superman Prime definitely God level. But that's a different conversation. I don't want this to be into that, Vern. I love that you're coming on. We coming on our overtime limit here. We usually go about an hour. We don't usually go over that. I do wanna ask you one thing.
yes, sir.
You got a bit of the smoke. It's a little more tension, a little more hostile than probably what you used to.
Oh
Y'all
no.
probably over there knitting and talking about one love and
Not
Manchester versus
not
United or whatever.
not those fellas.
Uh,
Not those fellas.
listen,
See
y'all. What we doing over here a little bit more contentious than y'all talking about. Kumbaya and holding hands.
okay.
How was your experience on the morning smoke, man? How you like it?
It's cool. This is what I'm used to, as you can tell. Not
Well,
getting able to look. This is what the Epic Podcast is consists of. Me asking questions, not getting to answer them, back and forths. Nobody understands what I'm saying, but I'm supposed to understand what everybody else is saying. I
Dang,
am
that's it.
100%
Boy, that's it. Boy, that
comfortable in
sound.
this seat.
That
So
sound.
as of today, this
That's
was just
identical.
another hour. This is just an extra hour of Epic Podcast.
Can you repeat that again? Because that's exactly how I feel.
being the whole being like I'm supposed to be the moderator, so like I'm supposed to lead us. Except that when I don't agree with one of them,
You don't understand,
then
do you? You don't
I
understand.
don't.
You don't understand
That's
what I'm
the
saying.
end.
You must
It's
be
like
crazy.
we
You
go-
don't understand what I'm saying.
We go off. So we do a we do an hour and 20 on average. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, you did an hour and 20 with us, 20 on the radio,
That's
hour with us in
I'm
overtime.
saying, like,
It's just,
so we
listen,
talking about live straight through.
I'm just
it's
I'm
just
glad
another,
a
you know.
whole show.
I'm just glad somebody
I,
understands where I'm coming from. That's
Nah,
all I'm
man.
saying.
When they get on
he
me, bro,
understands where I'm coming from, dealing with co-hosts that do X, Y, Z. But anyway,
no, see, you just got him. See, it's just you and him. I got 3 coming at
I'm
me.
used to. No, 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 no. So you gotta watch our stuff. We usually have another
Yeah, y'all
person on
bring in
various
somebody.
topics, right?
Yeah, but it's normally somebody
Most of
that's
them
it.
argue with my co-host.
Because he finds certain people that's in his favor
He's
to come on, and then I'm by myself. That's normally how it works.
Usually, see, Vern,
I'm every
Vern,
day on the island by myself.
in the history of this show,
Uh-huh.
you're only the second guest that my co-host is scheduled to come on. I normally bring the people to the show. That's part of what I do, and so he brings in biased people.
No, I don't.
Look,
Because
The man came in with a Spider-Man shirt on. You got the same shirt.
Listen.
No, we don't got the same shirt.
Listen though.
Freaking radioactive spider.
Listen. My people asked, did I want to do a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And just so happened I was doing one.
Mm-hmm.
So
He asked you for a reason.
They are permanent.
Don't start.
He asked you for a reason.
To be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then constantly attack me for what I believe.
That's normally
about my teams. None of us share the same team love.
Mm-hmm.
So for anything that I like, that I'm passionate about, that I comment on, I get chewed out because of what they think. Now I can't tell them about their teams. I can't say nothing about the Bengals or the Niners or the Ravens. I can't talk about their teams. But all of them because they either live in Indianapolis and or lived in Indianapolis at one point, feel like they got the Colts hook, line, and sinker. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, y'all
Should
don't
no
feel
Bengals fan feel nothing like that whatsoever?
he's the biggest one.
He
Me
sure
and him
Should
go
is.
at it
no
probably more
should
than anybody.
no Bengals fan feel like anything other? The Colts. Come on, man, stop it.
They just started
My
being
thing,
good.
though, the thing about Jared is he's a very objective Bengals fan. But
It's ridiculous to even be a Bengals fan.
I can't. He's from Cincy though. I
I
can't.
remember I lived in Cincinnati. I was in elementary school at the time. The last time
And he
the
talks bad. He
the
talks bad about him too.
listen, I'm gonna tell you why though, Vernon. I don't play like game with it. I was in elementary school. I lived in Cincinnati. It was when the Super Bowl took on my team, the 49ers. Joe Montana, my favorite player. They took them in '87. And I was dealing with all those psycho Bengals fans. And what I loved is that they lost, but two, they didn't go back for 30, 40, I'm almost 40 years to have any real relevant success. So Joe Burrow is nice, but should no Bengals fan, because I don't know how old Jared is. How old is he? Is he born in '87 when they last won the Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
he's an '80s baby.
So, sir, you was 4 years old, 2 years old, whatever it was. Don't, if you're a Bengals fan, be quiet. What my boy
Nah,
Farrakhan said he said, you should be quiet.
nah. But like I said, he's objective. He gets on his team more than anybody else. My thing is that I'm a little more optimistic about my team.
You a Colts fan?
Yeah, so I'm very
Colts,
optimistic
I'm
about
a
my
Colts
team.
and 49ers fan my whole life. So,
So I get criticized on my optimism just because I'm not doom and gloom, even though it may be doom and gloom. I'm just
Yeah.
not that. I like to see the positives in my team, and I like to be hopeful and optimistic about what we could possibly do.
I'm just
So
upset that, look, I ain't
I
got
get
nothing
attacked
against
a
the
lot.
49ers fan. I ain't got nothing against the Ravens fan. Both those teams been relevant. But that Bengals fan, you tell them, don't come on here with that Bengals mess.
Like I said, you just get him and maybe the occasional other. I get 3 every time. Now Isaac's a little bit different. Isaac tends to he's our gray area. He's our gray area. Whenever we need to come back to the middle, like Isaac brings us back to the middle. But I'm
I
constantly
got you.
fighting at least 2 of them on the regular. So, but I love it though.
Well, I was just curious your experience on here, man. You say
Oh,
it's
it's
more the
good.
same for you.
Yeah,
So,
same,
hey,
same.
we glad that we made you feel at home.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do.
Whole bunch of love.
Co-host, what
Give me
what did what did our last guest say? He said I felt like I was just on the couch talking with y'all.
yeah,
Hey,
okay,
He
we
was.
yeah.
want to
He was.
make you feel at home.
Yeah, you was like
That's how he's
you're a
supposed to be.
lot nicer that day. But I bet Vernon
Well,
has never. I
he
bet
was a
Vernon has
he
never.
was a better guest.
I bet Vernon was never called a hypocrite on the show before. But never
Listen,
Our
mind.
last
Let's
guest our last guest was better than Vernon. I
let's
liked him more.
that's and listen,
mm-mm-mm.
and that's perfectly fine. See, see, we've been in many chats together, so y'all know how I rock. I come in
Mm-hmm.
hot a lot,
But with this
so
man, you got to.
I take everything I get back on a regular basis
Yeah.
from y'all, from
I
them,
get a
from my
bad rap.
wife.
I don't know what
I
you're
get
talking
all the heat. So I come in hot, expecting that I'm gonna get it back. So I'm not. I'm perfectly comfortable in multiple seats, whether they be hot or cool.
Well, I'm a co-host. I do want to end on this. I want you guys to tell me where would you like to see this arc go with Miles Morales?
Go ahead, you
Where would
first.
you like to see it go?
You
We
you
we
got the biggest grapes, so you should go first.
That is true. What
no.
do you?
I'm
No,
asking.
no, 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 no. You said enough. I don't even want it. I
You're
honestly,
right. You're right.
I'm
honest,
You're right.
asking
You're right.
y'all. I'm
honestly
asking
and
y'all. Yeah, I'm
respectfully,
asking
You're
y'all.
right. You're
your
right. You're right.
opinion on Spider-Man
Yeah,
is
you're right.
totally
I
different.
like Spider-Man. I
I don't
like
want it.
Spider-Man.
I can't hear it.
He only likes it if he's white.
Go
Let's
ahead.
move on though. Let's move
Ooh,
on. Let's move
Here
on.
I am fighting for
John,
Miles
John,
Morales to be respected.
John. Can you answer this question? What would you
What's
like
up?
to see it go? Where would you like to see the art go?
For me, so if I was reading correctly, I think the next Beyond the Spiderverse is supposed to be the last of this animated type ordeal.
Yeah,
So
Right.
I'm really interested to see how this ends or whatever. But because a lot of people gripe because I did see those two about the plot of this particular storyline, and I enjoyed it because it's something different. The first movie, it was more about Miles. It was more about his story, about how he was bitten by this radioactive spider and this, that, and the other.
Right.
This movie was more about Gwen, and it talked.
Yes.
It started out that way, which is why in the beginning of the movie she said, "Let's do it differently this time," because it was more about her. So I enjoyed that. So I'm really interested to see how they intertwine both of these prominent characters because they've both been prominent characters in these movies. How they intertwine them to come to an end. But on the opposite end, as far as with the live action, what I would like to see, I want to see how the writers are going to tie it into this MCU because that's ultimately what they're looking to do. We know we're coming up on a big Avengers movies in the next, I think, couple of years where you'll see the Kang Dynasty, you'll see Secret Wars, and it's more gearing towards the Secret Wars, I believe, is which why they're gearing to have this live action video. I'm looking to see how they do with that. I'm looking to see how they intertwine the Spider-Verse, because like as I stated, it's yes, it is a multiversal type thing, but it's still vastly different than your main timeline, sacred timeline that's been introduced in the MCU. So I'm looking to see
Right.
how they intertwine those two as well. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. I'm just looking for some surprises, man. I mean, I'm going into this open-eyed, open wide, open-minded, things of that nature. Of course, I'm a fan. I want to see certain things, but Marvel has done a good job telling their story through all the different phases. They've done a great job doing what they do. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. I'm just looking to see how they tie that into the storyline. So
I agree. Also, and at the end, it's kind of like they're putting a team together to fight
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
Spider Verse and
mm-hmm,
to change it. Also,
mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna say the same. So, like how they were talking about those events that have to happen in order for the Spider Man stories to continue. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're gonna be fighting those events
Mm-hmm.
in their own universes because as you can see towards the end, Miles was already fighting to get back to his dad.
Yep.
Gwen's father, like they say, he's about to be a captain. So like every captain always dies. It's either the
Yep.
captain or is
Yep.
Ben or is somebody, Uncle Ben or even Aunt May sometimes die.
Yep.
Instead of
Yep.
Uncle Ben. So in all these universes, I think now they're gonna be fighting that stigma and the hint to beyond because they're like, hey, look, we've been in it, so now we need to go beyond that Spider Verse and kind of start building our own with our own team. So, and I think that's kind of how they're going to end it, kind of like
Yeah.
with Miles, revealing to his father and his parents who he is and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature, and trying to keep them safe. And maybe at his dad's funeral, if he don't make it, who knows? Um, Talking to his mom and growing closer because his mom played a big part in this one versus the last one. She wasn't really prominent; it was more about his dad. But like in this one, like they really kind of showed their relationship with him and his mom. And I've seen a lot of people talking about like, oh, what it wasn't emotional enough and stuff. I'm like, well, the connection with him and his mom, the connection with him and Gwen, like there was a lot of emotional attachments in this
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
draw that emotional aspect of it back home. But yeah, no, I'm curious too to see how they end it. I think I know where they're going, but to see
Mm-hmm.
how they end it, I believe somebody's gonna die.
Oh yeah.
Somebody has to
Absolutely.
die.
Yeah.
Somebody very important.
Yep.
So
It's happened in every other Spider-Man,
it
so I
always
know it's
has. I
so it's
think
got to be
them
something
messing
important.
up those events is gonna cause either him or Gwen to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like she said, every time they get together, one of them don't make it. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like somebody's not gonna make it at the end of
Mm-hmm.
Beyond. So, and that's how it is in a lot of comic books. One of them don't make it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And Gwen's, a lot of people don't make it, and then Miles is a comics. Somebody doesn't make it, and
Yeah.
every time you do a multiverse, somebody don't make it. They
Yep.
already killed one Spider Man.
Yeah. Yep.
What
Yep.
what what I would like to see, and they ain't gonna do this, but I would like to see them bring the Spider-Mans to face the multiversal threat of, and I've seen it in comics, Spider-Man comics of the Sinister Six. They have different iterations and different things,
And
but if you do the Superior Six, which is a version of that, but it's similar to the Illuminati, where you got
I
different
know you're
months
talking
with
about
different things.
right.
Um, if they tied that in, then you would need to bring various Spider-Mans together. And I love the big three that was on screen together. Absolutely love those them on together. And if somebody has to die,
Wait a minute, you mean the big
you
three? Which big three?
in No Way Home, the Garfield, Holland,
Oh, you
and
talking about live action? I thought you was talking. Oh, okay, my bad. I
I'm
just
talking,
went
but
on
I'm
comic.
I'm tying it into Miles Morales
Oh, okay.
because what I would like to see is Andrew Garfield. Everybody know he's not going to continue. It's just a cameo type situation, right? Just that movie, that arc. Tobey Maguire is going to be done after that, just like that. But Tom Holland is the current Spider-Man that people are seeing, and so I would like to see him sacrifice in some way and him be the one that dies. That'd be just like not like Iron Man, but that's how you ended that arc. He died, and somehow Miles Morales saves the day, and he's able to continue on. And you guys' version of passing the torch. What I'm saying is that I feel like that's being prepped in some way. I would like to see that arc, that
It
storyline
would.
somewhere like that. If you had to bring them together, because it's talking about the multiverse. You're already dealing with
Yeah,
all these
but I
Spider
think you
Man.
would have to push that out then.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
After Secret Wars, he would have to die in Secret Wars.
The reason why I said it's not going to be done is because I've seen the 10-year, 15-year vision of Marvel. It's not in there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, if what I would have liked to have seen is that I love that Doc Ock is a pure genius, and he actually in comics have dealt with the multiverse, and he has already gathered. That's why I say Sinister Six version of that. It would have been beautiful for me to see,
Yeah.
but we already seen most of those on the big screen,
Yeah.
and
And they already
so
brought them. They already brought them back once. So I think this.
that's what I'm saying. They're not going to do it. But I would, if you're dealing with the Miles Morales part, I'm saying I would have liked to seen him in there, and then that's the torch. But like I
But
say, that's a
it depends
hypothetical.
on where they
It's
go.
not going to
It
happen.
depends on where they go live action. What
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to, what they're going to do with that.
I don't think they do the Prowler anymore because they did it on animation and they did it on the video. Because you also got to think about the video game aspect of it too, where people view Miles Morales as and his relationship with Spider-Man. So if I don't think the
I think
Prowler,
that they tied.
I think you got to move on. You can't really bring Kingpin in because you done him a couple times, and you got Daredevil. So like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
Well, I think Prowler is going to be seen a little bit more. Only reason why is because he made a cameo in one of the other Spider-Mans. I don't know if it was Far From Home or whatever, but it's being played by Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, whatever you want to call it.
Oh
It's being
yeah.
played, he's
They
being
may
played
do
by him.
that.
Yeah, so it's played by him, and he was
He
also
definitely
in
going to be.
he was also in this movie as
He
well
was in this
too.
movie. You're right.
So I think we're going
But
to
he
see
was in
Prowler
this
more.
movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
I
he
think
looked just
I
like him. I
totally
give him credit.
spaced that. You're
So
right
I think
because he was meeting
yeah.
with the dudes to get the weapons. Yeah.
So he is going to be seen more. So I know he's going to be probably a villain. I don't know if he'll be the big villain, but I think he'll be a villain in this next one. So.
Now that will tie together a live action Miles if they start off with get Childish Gambino being the Prowler, like focus it on him, and then you kind of how they did it
I
in
think that's
animation.
probably why they did him in that animation.
Yeah,
It looked
that's why
just
they
like him.
Pull him out.
Yep.
You can pull him out. Yep, in the Spider-Man.
I think you could also finally tie in Venom somehow. I mean, come
Oh,
on. I want to
that's
see.
coming.
well, see, you got to bring
That's coming.
Venom and Carnage into. You got to bring
Yeah.
Venom
Yeah,
into.
I want to
Civil
see.
War.
I want to see because right now Venom's just wasted away.
No, he's
I
not.
haven't seen that maximized. Yeah, it is, man. I just want to see that more tied in. Right now they're
It's got to be
alone.
rated
I
R.
want to see that brought in, man.
He's coming, man. Yeah,
Got
he's
to be
coming.
rated
Man.
R. Like that's
coming.
another thing too. Like that kind of limits Marvel
Yeah,
is
they want to
character like
Disney
you
owned
gotta
by
do.
Disney.
Yeah, you got to do rated R Venom. You got to do rated R Carnage, and like they're doing a rated R for Deadpool 3 for the first time. Like, but then you're pulling
Which
him
is
into
gonna be
the MCU
amazing.
too. Like, oh no, it's gonna be great, but it's kind of like. How do you dial that back now in the MCU and stuff like that? So,
Vern, we're gonna have to have you back on, man, to talk comics, superheroes, everything above.
as you can
Re-
see, this is what
real talk, man, because I see the passion, I hear it. You're knowledgeable, so I appreciate that. And co-host,
yeah, man, get us
despite
out there,
his incorrect Spider-Man deal,
man.
I
He
love
is
his takes, man.
man.
Take us home, baby. Take us home.
Coming from a DC.
I don't even see Vernon. I'm at the point in this podcast life with him that half the stuff
I see you've learned to be quiet.
It just goes one in and out the other.
You should be quiet.
I see you just this doesn't affect you at all.
Nah.
I
It did
am
when we
up
first
in arms.
started. It did back in the day. I don't care.
I'd be damned.
Yeah,
We got unlimited time on
I don't-
YouTube. We gonna
I
talk.
don't know why he he
He's
even feels any kind of way, I gave him awards. I gave
you
him
know
all kind of different things.
you
And
know
I appreciate my co-host. I've said that many times on here.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Okay. All right.
I've gotten, I know how my co-host is. He ain't gonna never
And you just let him
change.
go.
I just let him be. When you get older, you can see
You
now.
get
So
wiser. You just kind of let the. Okay. All
I'm
right.
wiser, but he can see now
No,
because he's
no,
getting older. So
the old people like to talk a lot.
yeah, and I just let him
My
do
dad
that.
just
Time
called me.
out.
I
Time
just let him
out.
do
Wait
that.
a minute.
I just let him do that. I let him talk.
see.
I let him do
I
that.
see
I let
that.
him do it.
As
Yeah.
they get older, they like to ramble more. I see. All right.
I'm taking my talent to South
When we
Beach.
when we
Let's take us home, man. Take us
when
home.
we get done, I'm just like, yeah, that's my co-host. That's Miller. Yeah, that's him. Anyway, thank you so much for listening in with us to this very spirited conversation of Marvel Comics and Spider-Man across the universe. Definitely appreciate Vernon stopping by. And again, I did it for the radio. Definitely want you to drop your information. I know you're on, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So definitely, drop all this stuff for our people, man.
Yeah, man, we definitely live every Wednesday on Facebook, YouTube. I forgot to mention, we're also on Rumble. We will be coming to Twitch. We're
Okay.
on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts, and we're on Google Podcasts. So pretty much anywhere you can consume a podcast and or live video content, we will be there. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Man, me, Ike, Justin, Jared, bringing you all the current events in sports, our opinions, our thoughts. And yeah, man, that's us, man. All day, every day. Epic Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and what's the last one? Instagram. We're on there too. All of them. Epic Podcast. Just search Epic Podcast. You'll find us.
Cool. And I definitely have a couple of those links here in this description here, so definitely go check that out. But we are out of here. We are out of time. We are on here, Facebook, YouTube as well, the Morning Sport Podcast. We're also on our main radio station, JQLM Radio, every Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. So definitely check that out. And we're also on Spotify, Anchor.fm as well too. And I'm sorry, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
TikTok
as well too. We
Sorry, my
booming
wife
on
won't let me
TikTok.
have a TikTok. I cannot put us on TikTok. She won't let me.
Well, I can understand why, and that's another conversation for another day.
Hey, I could understand that, my boy, but hey,
So it's why our algorithms on TikTok is messed up now because of my co-host. But thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. We are out of here. Peace out.